Hello friends, in this video, me, Yogesh Keni and my colleague Professor Dipti Nair will explain the various steps to be followed in Zoom for smooth conduction of lectures. We will begin with Zoom icon. Here you can see a Zoom software which is downloaded from Google. So simply click on this icon. Here you have to log in with your credentials which is given by your department. Once you log in, here you will get four major steps: new meeting, join, schedule, and share screen. Along with that, one more important tab is this My Profile. So when you click over here, you will get your settings and all options. So we need this. So I'll explain these options meanwhile. First option, new meeting, is instance meeting. So whenever you want to create an instance meeting, you can join with new meeting. The drawback of this new meeting is what? Once you end this meeting for all, then again you cannot use this meeting. You cannot use same meeting ID for another meeting. So this is only one time you can use. Second is schedule of the meeting. This is quite important. I'll explain detailed steps about this schedule of the meeting. So just click on this schedule of the meeting. Here you can give the topic. Let's say Zoom meeting 1. Then you can set date and time. So let's say right now I'm just selecting at 1 a.m. 1 hour and time. Then recurring meeting. Recurring meeting is if you want to repeat your meeting, then you can go with recurring meeting, but there should have same time. Then this feature is more useful. We will uncheck this. Then meeting ID. There are two options: generate automatically and personal meeting ID. We recommend that you just go with generate automatically so that there won't be any conflict with other meetings. So for every new meeting, there is a separate ID. Then security. Whenever you are generating any meeting, then should have some control on your attendees. So you can give this passcode, or you can change this passcode also, so that your attendees can join your meeting with this passcode. So you can give this meeting ID and passcode to the student so that they can join your meeting. There is one more tab called as waiting room. That is, if students want to join your meeting, then to authenticate that particular person or that particular student, there is a waiting room. So if you feel this person is authenticate, then only you can admit that person or that student in your meeting. But there is drawback also. If we have hundreds of the students in a class, then it is very difficult to admit all those 100 students. There is one more tab called as admit all. But if we admit all, then we may not find who is the authenticate person. So generally we prefer to avoid this waiting room. Why? Already we have given the meeting ID and password. Next, video. So you can enable or disable host video as well as participant video. So if host want to share his video, then you just click on this host tab, on tab, and if participant want, and if you want your participant should share their videos, then you can click on this tab. Audio. In audio there are three options: only telephone, only computer, and both telephone and computer. So generally you just prefer this telephone and computer, so that some students may join with telephone, and that is the phone, and some students may join with audio, so both can able to on their mic. Then one more option is calendar. So you can attach your meeting with your Google Calendar or any other calendar, maybe Yahoo Calendar or like that. So with this tab, you can attach your meeting with your Google Calendar. Advanced option. In advanced option, first is enable joined before host. So this is something when if teacher is joining, let's say on time, then your student can join that meeting before you, so that you can save your time. Means if teacher is joined and then we are allowing 100 students, then it is something time consuming. So we can allow student to join before host join. Then mute participant upon entry. There may be some chances that when participant joined their meeting, if their mic is on, then there is chances of getting disturbance in your meeting. So you just take this particular option. Third one is only authenticated users can join. That is sign in to Zoom. So it is, if we check this, so those students have signed in, those only can able to join this meeting. But we don't want this. So any student can join this meeting. So we uncheck this particular tab. Automatic automatically record meeting. Yes, here one option is provided. When your meeting will start, you can automatically record your meeting either on your computer, that is locally, or on the cloud. But we don't want to give automatically. We will manually select this particular recording option later on. Now I will save this particular scheduling. So only one important part, that Zoom meeting one topic we have given. So just save this. Yes. Now this will take you to another window. As I mentioned, this will take you to join this meeting with your Google Calendar. But I don't want to join my meeting with my Google Calendar. That's why I'm not going to log in. So I'll simply close this tab. Now again, I will go to my main tab, this one. Here you can see Zoom meeting 1. So now it starts in 3 minutes. So this is what the actual meeting. So those जितने भी meetings schedule किए रहेंगे, all will appear over here. Now there is one more feature of this scheduling, that you can schedule two different meetings on same time, but there is only one condition: the meeting ID and the user are different. So let's say if this is of 300, we have suppose 300 licensed participant, so we can split into two different meetings. Only thing, we need to generate different meeting ID. Now join meeting. If we click on this join meeting, so whenever we create this Zoom meeting 1, so I can join afterwards on same particular meeting. So I don't have to create, or I don't have to schedule next time. Simply if let's say I'm taking any one subject, let's say cyber security, so I'll schedule one meeting with cyber security, and every time I'll go to this join, and here I'll show you the option. I'll click on this join button, and here you can see this particular meetings. So I can directly go to that particular meeting, right? So this is the option available in join button. Another thing is, what if you want to join any others meeting? So simply click on this join, and there you have to put the meeting ID. So there also you can able to join the meeting. Last option is share screen. So when you click on this share screen option, simply you can directly share your screen with the respective meeting. So these are the basic steps in Zoom scheduling or Zoom meeting scheduling. Now I'll explain you about how to share the link. Now already we have scheduled this meeting. So when I'm clicking on this particular tab, here you can find copy invitation. So simply when I copy this invitation, my meeting ID, my passcode, and the link for this meeting is copied, and you can send this particular link to your student either through email or through WhatsApp. So this facility is there. So you can directly send this link from here. So this is about the scheduling a meeting and giving meeting ID or meeting link to your participant. And I have sent this invitation link through WhatsApp. So this is the actually things you can send. So here you can find out the topic name. Just now we have created Zoom meeting 1, the time and link. Also you can see your meeting ID and passcode. So your student can join your meeting with this passcode. This is the ID. So hope you understand about this. Now I will start the meeting. So simply I'll click on the start. So you will get one pop-up window and your meeting will start. Once your meeting is start, simply you have to click on join with computer. Then only your mic will on. So I'm just clicking on this join with computer. So this is the actual Zoom interface. Here you have so many controls. Now I request Deepti ma'am to explain the controls of this Zoom meeting. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Thank you very much Yogesh sir for explaining the different steps to schedule a meeting and also how concurrent meetings can be run. So once you enter a meeting, this is the window that is visible to all the participants who have entered the meeting. The meeting controls are available at the bottom of this Zoom window. First, let us go to participants. The moment you click it, you can see the list of participants who will be present in the meeting. Now here if you see Zoom EXTC PCE is the host of the meeting. Now host is a person who has scheduled the meeting and they have the full permission to manage the meeting. Whereas if you see against my name, there is no designation. That means I have joined as a participant. And as a participant, if you see at the bottom of the control Zoom window, these are the controls that a participant will have on their Zoom window. Now in this, very important thing is raise hand on the right hand side bottom. Suppose now in this case now any meeting can have only a single host. But in case there is a huge conference that has to be organized, so it will become difficult for a single host to manage the participants. So in that case, what can be done is the host can assign co-hosts to the participants. Now there is no limitation on the number of co-hosts. So in order to do that, what needs to be done is first here, since Yogesh sir scheduled the meeting, he is the host. So Yogesh sir, can you make me the host please? Yeah, thank you sir. So if you see now, Yogesh sir has made me the host. So now I have more controls than what a regular participant has. Now right now if you see, Yogesh sir is the participant and I am the host. Now, if you see the meeting controls as well, the number of controls have increased for a host. Now, let us move to the first one, that is extreme left hand side bottom corner. The mic and the camera both are turned off because these are the settings that we have initially done before scheduling the meeting. Next very important thing is security. These are the in-meeting security options. So you can click on that. The first option is lock meeting. Right now it is not ticked. That means it is disabled. Now what lock meeting does is that if you suppose enable it, what happens is once the meeting starts, no person can enter the meeting. That participant may have your meeting ID, may have your password as well. But since you lock the meeting, they cannot enter your lecture. So this is similar to not allowing a student in the classroom if they are late for the lecture. The next one is enable waiting room. This Yogesh sir has explained it very well. So I hope you are clear with that. So again here in this case it is disabled. The next one is allow participants to share screen. Now when we say participants means you can compare them to your students. So share screen is disabled. That means they cannot share their screen, which means only the host can share whatever they want to share with the class. So it is better you always disable this. Next one is the chat option. Now when we say chat, teacher can chat with the students can chat with the teachers, and also the students can chat among themselves. So again, it is up to the teacher whether they want to enable it or they want to disable it. The next one is rename themselves. Now this is very important from attendance point of view. In Zoom, the attendance is generated automatically in the form of reports. Now usually what happens is, not usually I can say, sometimes what happens is a participant may join the meeting with some uncommon name or unknown name which is not known to the teacher. So what happens is it becomes very difficult to identify that particular student who was present for the meeting. So marking attendance for them becomes difficult. So when we are enabling this rename themselves, what happens is if a participant has entered a meeting with some unfamiliar name, the teacher can find out from this list of participants, identify that particular person whom they think their name is not the actual one, and ask that particular student to rename themselves during the meeting itself. For example, now here if you see, if somebody joins like Zoom EXTC PCE and I'm unable to make out who this person is. So what I can tell them is, please rename yourselves. Or I also, being the host, I have the ability to, or I have the control to make this as them, to rename themselves, to rename them. So I just need to go to more and rename and say I can rename that as, in this case, since I know it is Yogesh sir, I am renaming him as Yogesh. But a teacher may not understand the participant has joined with some unfamiliar name. It will be difficult for the teacher to identify that particular student. So in that case, the student himself or herself can rename themselves. Okay. So I hope it is clear about rename themselves. So it is better you keep it ticked. The next one is unmute themselves. Now here initially if you see, the mic is muted. But now once a participant enters the meeting, they can unmute themselves. So in order to avoid any sort of disturbance, it is better that we disable it. So once you click it, it will become disabled. Because what happens is, now the participant cannot unmute themselves. Only the teacher, that is the host, can unmute them. But suppose you unmute, suppose you are disabling this, unmute themselves, and say the student has got some doubt during the session. As I showed initially, as a participant, they have the option of raise hand. So in between the lecture, if the student has got some doubt, they can click on that option of raise hand. We being the host don't have that option of raise hand. Only the participants will have that option of raise hand. The last one is remove participant. This is again, if a student is creating some nuisance in the class, you can remove them from the ongoing lecture. The next one is chat. Here now, right now we had enabled the chat. That's why you can send the chat. Suppose I'm writing here hello, and if I enter it, this message will go to everyone who is present in the meeting. Suppose I want to privately send this meeting. the list of all the participants present in the meeting will be displayed here, and say I can select that one particular person, and if I want to send some message to them, I can do so. So this message is going only to Yogesh sir since I have selected that option. Similarly, if you want to share some file, you can share the file also here. And in case you don't want that the students should chat among themselves during the lecture, if you see, observe here, you have 3 dots, click on that, and participants can chat with no one. So you can have that option. So now the participants can neither chat with the teacher nor with their friends. But in this case, if a teacher is putting some link in the chat or sharing some file, the students can very well access those things. So communication from teacher to students will be there, but students cannot chat with the teacher or with their friends. Now, next very important feature is the share screen. So if you want to share some document, your presentation or some YouTube video, you have to go on share screen. Now, it is always a good practice that before you share your screen, whatever document you want to present, you open it and keep it so that it will be easier for you to select that. Now, in this case, I am planning to say present this one. So I will click on that. So you'll see a blue border, and then I will press share. And then slideshow. So this is how you can share the screen. And so on. Now here if you see, initially our meeting control bars were at the bottom. Now the moment you share the screen, it moves to the top. Again, some important features in this I would like to explain. One is the annotate. You can click on annotate. So you have so many options available here. So on the PPT, suppose you want to write something and draw, or draw something to explain, you have this draw option. Select something and you can draw on this PPT. It is according to your choice. So whatever you want to show, suppose you want to type some text, you can do so. Similarly, if you want to spotlight something, you can select that, whichever you want to, and you can have this spotlight while explaining your PPTs. Another thing is, whatever text you have entered, if you want to format it, for example, you want to change the color of the writing something, and you want to format whatever you have written. Say you change its color, or you want to make it bold, or maybe you want to even change the font size. All those things can be done using this format. Then you have the regular ones, that is undo, redo, and things like that. If you want to erase everything at one shot, you can click on clear and clear all drawings. So whatever you have drawn on the PPT will go away. If you want to save the changes you have made, you can click on this save button. So these are the options you have for while presenting your presentations, for which you have to go to this annotate. I'll stop sharing this one. Now suppose you want to have some presentation on YouTube. So again, you can go to share screen. Say again, I have opened that YouTube initially. So select on this YouTube. Always remember, if you want some sound or some video to be shown to the participants, once you select the YouTube, you can see there are 2 check boxes here. Share computer sound, optimize screen sharing for video clip. Please tick on these 2, then only the video will be audible as well as visible to the participants. So select that and then click on share. And then you can play it.
Teams collaborate. Whether you're connecting multiple conference rooms or adding remote attendees,
And if you want to stop sharing it, you can stop share. Another important thing in this is you have inbuilt whiteboard. So you can select this, share it. So again, whatever tools we had seen in annotation, the same are available in whiteboard. So if you want to draw something and then you want to teach your students, you can do so. So if you want to again write something here, say some mathematical expression or anything you want to do, this can be done with the help of whiteboard. Again, same features are available. So you can just practice it. You will need a little bit of practice in this because you have to draw all the diagrams using mouse. So needs a bit of practice in this. So you have this whiteboard which can be really used very well while explaining something to the students, especially numerical subjects. It will be very helpful. So again, if you want to stop sharing, you can click on stop sharing. The next option I would like to explain is about recording. There are two options on record on this computer and record to the cloud. Now when you record on this computer, that means you are going to store the recording, you're going to save the recording in your system. And how to access that, Yogesh sir will be explaining in some time. Similarly, record to the cloud. If you are recording the session using cloud, once the meeting ends and the processing of the video is over, it gets saved in the Zoom account whose username and password you have used to create this meeting. So again, there is a way to access it. I will be explaining here. So I hope these basic controls are clear to you. So from here on, Yogesh sir will be continuing. Yogesh sir, over to you.
Thank you, Dipti ma'am, for explaining the basic features of Zoom. Now I'll explain some advanced features which is really useful for a teacher. Now, Dipti ma'am just told about the recordings. So there are two ways. One way either on our computer or on our cloud. Now let's see how to extract those recordings, from where we'll get those recordings and how to share those recordings with our student. So to access those recordings, you have to go to our main Zoom window. For example, this is our main Zoom window. Now here I told you initially this is the profile tab. Just click on this. Here you will find one option called as my profile. Just click on this my profile. It will take you onto the another browser, and from that it will take you to your profile. So here you will find all the settings and all. Now here you can find recording option. Recording. Just click on this. Once we click on the recording, there are two more options: cloud recording and local recording. So local recording is nothing but recording on computer. So I'll initially explain first local recording. I'll just click on this local recording. So this is about this local recording. So you can see the address where your recording is stored in your computer. So you can open directly. So when you click on the open, it will directly take you to that particular folder. Now, one more drawback of this particular recording is we cannot able to share this particular recording to a student. To share this recording, now this is in our computer. So first we need to upload this into our Google Drive, and from there we can able to share the link with the student. So this is the problem with local recordings. Now how to share the recording so that we can easily share with the cloud recording. So just click on this cloud recording. Again, here you will get list of your recordings. So you can find out as per your date. So these are the recordings, right? Now, what you can do, you can simply click on the share button, and let's say I'm talking about this recording. So you can simply click on the share button. When you click on the share button, there is one more pop-up. So there are again some settings. So whether you want to share your recording publicly, yes, we want to share with our students, so you have to keep this on. Then only authenticated users, so for limited users we can go with this option. Expiry date for the link, whether you want to remove recording after some time, so that expiry date is available. But as we are giving this to student, there is no need of keeping this tab on. Viewers can download. Yes, our students are going to use this recording for their exam purpose, so we can keep this on, so they can download at any time. On demand registration request. So this is while lecture is going on, your participant can request, registered participant can request you that this lecture recording we want. So this is the option. Then passcode protection. So whenever we give the link, so they cannot directly open the link if we keep this option on. So with the password, they can able to on, or they can able to view that particular recording. So it is up to you. If you want to give protection, you can give that. Otherwise, student can able to view that particular video with the help of link. How to share? So here, if you click on copy sharing information, so automatically that link is copied. So I'll show you. So see this. This is how the meeting recording, and this recording you can send to your student. Now, if you want to download from that, so let's say you have chosen cloud recording, and now suppose you want to download that recording into your system. So simply go here, more options, and simply click on download button. So your recordings will download. But one thing you have to keep in mind, when you share this link with your student, and if afterwards you delete this particular video from cloud, then your student won't get access of that particular video. So the student can able to access that video unless and until that video is available on cloud. Okay, so this is the recordings. Now I will explain one more important feature, and it is very essential for teacher, that is attendance. How we can able to check attendance. So just click on this report tab, then go to the usage tab. Here again you will find the list of the recordings, right? So you have to find out the, as per your date and the time, you have to find out the recording. So let's say for this lecture we want to find out the student. So say this. So this is the meeting ID, then timing, duration, and this many number of logins. Actually it's 169. The meaning is what? Few students may left in between and again they will join. So this is the total number. Now we can see the details by clicking on simple export with meeting data. So here you can see the all meeting data. So while downloading you will get this data, and one more important tab, show unique users. So this is something we want. So when we click on this unique user, you can see the name of the student and how much time they are online. So this is more important. Okay, so I can show you. Say this, that this is lecture for 60 minutes. So you can find students are there, but there are few students who just joined for some time and they immediately left the meeting. And from here you can simply export this particular attendance. One more thing, as Dipti ma'am mentioned in previously about the rename, why rename is important. So if someone fail to write down their proper name, then it is very difficult to identify that person. That's why rename is important. They have to write down their proper name. Then only this particular window will collect their data. So this is about the attendance. Now last I will explain about the polling. So how to take polling and others. So again we have to go to the our main window. Here you can find out the option called as polls. Now whenever Dipti ma'am is explaining, you won't find this poll option. Why? Because this meeting is created by me. That's why only teacher will get this option about the polls. So when I click on this polls, you can see add a question. It will again take you to another browser, and here you can write down the question and answer. So again, let's say this is I'm just writing quiz 1, and you just type your question. So I'll just randomly type, okay, I'll just type one question so that I can show you how we can able to do this. I'm just giving options now. And the last option I'm just, so here when you give your options, simply you have to give another question. So if there are more than one question, you just click on add a question, and you can write down another question, and then just click on the save button. So when you click on the save button, this particular poll is saved into your meeting. Right now, how we will get this? So again, go to your Zoom meeting like here, and you can see this is what the poll 1, that is quiz 1, and simply click on launch polling. When you click on this launch polling, the question is released and student can attempt that particular question. So they can write down their answer. So you can see how many students have given the option A, B, C or D. By this you can able to understand, or you will understand the understanding of the student, how much topic they have understand from your lecture. So this we can do. So after answering all these questions, you can simply click on end polling, and then you will get result in percentage as well as number of the student, how many student have selected which answer, and then you can simply share this result with the student. So this is about the polling option. In Zoom it is given in build. In Google Meet we have to go for the other softwares, maybe Mentimeter or any other polling softwares. So this is one more advantage of Zoom. So this is about the Zoom and how to create the Zoom meeting and a small video for this particular Zoom lecture. Now I'll request again Dipti ma'am to give concluding remark about this video lecture. Thank you.
Thank you, Yogesh sir, for explaining everything so well. We hope this video will be useful to all of you. In case of any queries, you can contact Yogesh sir or me anytime. Thank you.